Welcome to this video. This is a Procreate beginner tutorial, namely the level 1 out of 3. And feel free to use the chapters here below on the video bar to find your way around in the video, or if you already know something, to skip an entire topic. So the whole course is divided into 3 parts, and of course they build up on top of each other. So today here we first really start completely from zero, and I'll explain you the most important functions of Procreate. We do the whole thing simply based on a practical example, so you can actually have a Procreate and a drawing tutorial in one. When we open the app here, the starting screen simply built like a filing system with all our previous projects. To draw something, first we create a new project. We can take one of the presets, but we can also make the settings ourselves, and of course I also want to look briefly over it with you. Because we want to make a mountain panorama, we need a landscape format. The DPI, that means dots per inch, indicates like how many pixels or color dots are in an inch. It is, so to speak, the resolution of the image if you want to print it. And the setting is, if you don't want to print it, completely irrelevant. So if you want to print it, make sure it's 300 dpi or higher, like otherwise the quality will be bad. But if you don't want to print it, you can just completely ignore that setting. The maximum numbers of layers or levels is calculated by the device itself. You can't change that either, and it's dependent of the performance of your tablet and of course also how large you set the canvas to be. The larger your project or your canvas is, the less levels you can have. It's quite simple. The color settings are actually also irrelevant, except again if you want to print it. Then take the CMY key, that is basically the standard printer color profile. More you don't need to know for now. Then the background color you can also still change in the project itself, therefore here again irrelevant. Right now, here in the project itself, we could actually start directly. With 2 fingers you can rotate the canvas, so the square, what you see, and zoom in and out. And with the pencil you can already just make lines. The thing with which you actually paint are your brushes. You can find them by clicking here on the brush icon in the top right corner. You get here directly a lot supplied, actually everything you need, but you can also get more free sets on the internet and also create them yourself or change already existing ones, but that is the topic for a second or third video. So for the beginning, just familiarize yourself with what you have, look at what the brushes do and experiment a bit with the different textures and stuff. We start now with a small and simple sketch. If you paint something by accident, no worries, there's of course an eraser to undo it. The eraser is in the end the same as your brush, only negative. Thus, if you click on the eraser, you can change the brush again. It is also different to your selected brush on the, brush. So you can have separate brushes for both your eraser and your brush. If you want to paint something else in lower opacity, or if the brush or eraser is too big, then you can also adjust the opacity and the size of your brush or eraser here on the bar on the left side. The upper one is for the size and the lower one is for the opacity. What you can also see on the bar are 2 arrows, undo and redo. This is in my opinion the most controversial feature. Like, on one hand it is of course very useful if you ever draw something wrong or accidentally draw a line somewhere you didn't mean to. You can just undo it, but on the other hand in the beginning I used to catch myself drawing a line 20 times and undoing it again. But yeah, believe me, that really doesn't help anyone. So yeah, so much about it. It is super useful as a tool, but do not overdo it, and actually best just leave it alone. Well, so when we are now satisfied with the sketch, say so far, and want to give life to the painting, for this of course we need color. select different colors, we click here on the circle above, and then we see in the corner directly under it our current color, and a little bit bigger the previously selected color. Down in this box you can see the current color tone, also called hue, and in it you can see with this in it you can also select saturation and value if you drag the little circle. You can do this also just below there with the 3 sliders. The first is for color, aka hue. As you can see, if I go to the right and left, both change the color. The second is for the saturation, which then goes to the right and left. And the third for the brightness, aka value. If those words don't tell you anything, then search for a separate video on the topic, because this is color theory, which is not part of this video right now. Then below you have directly the currently selected color palette. At the bottom left you can change the color palette. Also there are, as always, prefabricated ones, or you can put them together yourself by simply dragging a color onto this pattern. The next to it you have different settings about the appearance of the color selector. What we have at the moment is classic, that is the box format, I'll call it. Then the ring is the same, only circular. I personally prefer classic, that's because you can easier pick a specified color tone, but yeah, that's up to you. Harmonies and values are also pretty much irrelevant for the beginning, so we'll just skip them. To render the different objects easier, so to formulate or colorize them, you could say I want to put all the objects on a single layer. So the mountains, the grass, the sky, each of them separated on a single layer. To do that now, I click on this symbol here. If you're not familiar with layers, you can imagine them like different slides that all lie on top of each other. So here in the menu you can also, at the very bottom, which is basically layer 0, change the background color. I recommend you here just take a medium hue or medium gray tone. Then on the plus we can create a new layer, and if we now drag this layer to the left, then we can clone or double or delete or lock it. And then on the same button you can also unlock it later. Locked layers simply remain as they are. Then the check mark on the side here makes them invisible or visible again. On the big N you can adjust the opacity of the whole layer. Here you can also set the layers interaction mode with each other, but this is more for advanced users, I'd say, and we'll probably cover it in the next video as well. Then if you click on the layer now, a whole menu with more options appear on the left side. Here are only copy, delete and remain important for now. I think these 3 are relatively self-explanatory, but there are 2 other functions that I want to explain or show you. Here the clipping mask and the down merge. Merge down just makes a single layer out of the layer we are on and the layer below it. You can use this when your layer count is full or your image or project is getting cluttered and you just need to make space, or you want to have a better overview, then you can merge layers. Then the clipping mask is another small but very useful thing, where the current layer is clipped to the layer below. So that means you can only paint there, draw or erase on the clipping mask, like the upper layer, where there's also color on the lower layer. This is very practical if you want to paint or render, for example, individual objects but not the rest of the image. So now that our beautiful mountain landscape is finished, and I want to present it of course immediately to my parents, that's why we need to export our finished artwork first. Here click the clear symbol, then here you go to share. For you should only the upper section be relevant, namely image sharing. And here you select the desired format, like PNG or JPEG are the standard image formats. And then finally on save image, you can save the finished artwork directly into the gallery of your carpet. Or on your tablet, I mean. Oh wow, isn't it beautiful? And that's it now so far already with the most important basics of the program. Of course you can do much more on it and with it, And more things I'll explain, like I said, in the second part of the small series, so make sure to subscribe and hit the bell to not miss the whole thing or whenever the next video comes up. If you directly still have any other question, just leave me a comment there. I'll try as good as I can to answer them. And if the whole video has helped you, you can support me for free by simply taking 1 second of your time and clicking the like button. Then you can also check out my artworks on Instagram or buy digital copies of my pictures here on Etsy. If you want to support me over long term, you can also do that for just €1 a month. Just check out my Patreon for this. Patreon is a website where if you subscribe to it, you have small benefits. For example, like that your name is shown here in the credits in the end of every video, that I'll make a monthly exclusive art stream for you, that you will see the videos 1 day earlier and stuff like that. So just check it out and see if this may be something you will fancy. All the links I mentioned in this video are in the description, and now enjoy your life, have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye!